towards that. The Power Launch program is now live and free. The Power Launch, we've always had free access to what we call Passion Pro as well. And Passion Pro is about helping people move into their purpose and find a life of fulfillment. So when I saw what you do, Carey, I was like, oh my gosh, a great friend. Right. Here's somebody who understands, we've got the Academy of First Class Business. You've got Vision is Victory Academy. And we met serendipitously, with Michelle Jewsbury, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
we were at Podfest.
Podfest.
Oh, so awesome. And like, I just knew right away when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this lady's got heart to the vision, authenticity to the vision. So I was just talking about how long it took me to kind of pull this off. What about yourself? Like, how long have you been working on Vision is Victory Academy? And did you always know coming out of the womb that you wanted to help the world with vision, or what does it look like?
It's so funny that you asked me that. So Vision is Victory the Academy is just one piece of everything that I built. And it's the newest thing we're building. But my story is, Jackson, when I was in my late 20s, I was doing the 9-to-5 gig, and I wasn't doing it very well. I was changing jobs every 2 years because I just didn't fit that mold. Yeah. And so I had a mentor show up in my life who sat me down and said, you can create your life to look like however you want it to look, Carey. You just need to get really clear on what it is that you want. What do you envision? And so I took a day off of work, and with a legal pad of paper, because this was the 80s, I wrote out in great detail. We were pretty newly married, so I wrote a lot about the relationship I wanted to have with my husband and what I wanted us to be doing as a couple. I knew that we were going to have children, so I wrote a lot about being a mom, what kind of mom I wanted to be, and the values I wanted to instill in my kids. And I knew that at some point when we had the children that I wanted to be able to work from home. I wanted that flexibility. Didn't know what it was at the time. I did not know the vehicle. I just knew that I wanted the flexibility. I knew that I wanted residual income. I knew that we wanted to travel a lot, put our kids through good schools, and just have, a really great life, be able to be creative and a leader. And after I wrote that, and this is the funny thing, Jackson, you asked me if I always knew that I wanted to be a vision expert. On one of the pieces of paper on the very last line, I wrote that out of the blue that someday I wanted to teach vision and goal setting to other people. Mm-hmm. So not knowing, that this is eventually what would happen, it was just there. And so I stepped into being an entrepreneur when I was a young mom. I was in the industry of network marketing first. Mm-hmm. So I built a really big team of people with a company called Arbonne, and I taught them all how to write a vision. Because I knew that if they didn't have a really powerful purpose and a big why for their business, Jackson, they were going to quit. It's just too hard.
Absolutely.
It's a hard business and a hard industry.
Yep.
Especially in the 80s and 90s when it was very taboo.
That's where I learned your why should make you cry. Right. I mean, that was my university. University was a different thing. Like, I did that for a little bit and failed it pretty badly, but I crushed it through the university learning of network marketing. That helped me have a very strong base of personal development.
Yes, it's a beautiful place to be as a new entrepreneur because you have everything in place. The system is there. You don't have to build it.
It's like a franchise, but you don't have to spend the franchise money.
That's right. That's exactly right. I just followed the system. They told me what to do and how often to do it. And I built a really big team. But the bigger thing is that I had a lot of amazing leaders around me that were helping me grow into the leaders that they saw. Mm-hmm. And it was painful. There were points where it was really humbling. You lose a whole team of people because they're not loving being around you as who you're being at the moment. And you change really fast. Yeah. But it's a safe place to be because they love you.
Correct. Yeah. I actually did super, super well in network marketing when I think I was like 22. I built a big team, and like 7 months later, I got a check for $9.82. Like, it was not at all what I was hoping. What happened with that situation? And I racked up a ton of debt on credit cards. Doing that too. But again, it was kind of the price I paid for the university. And for moving my life forward, understanding things. I wouldn't be where I am today, and I would have gotten what I've gotten out of this. I do have some good relationships. It also taught me how to push people away. Right? How to not build relationships and not be a great leader, but try to lead. So that's just life though. We have to walk. We have to walk before we crawl. We have to crawl before we walk. We have to figure it out. So it's a great incubator for some people. And speaking of that, let's use that as resource number one. So that's one resource that has helped both of us with our path as visionaries. What are two more resources that have helped you get to where you are?
Well, I wrote down because I knew you were going to ask me this question, that one of the resources, and we just touched on this a minute ago, is you have to be in the right community. Because without it, we can quit on ourselves so easily, Jackson.
Huge.
So you've just got to put yourself in the right place, that you're going to have some people that are going to be a safe place to grow. And they're going to pour into you. Everything I am right now is because of what I learned through my 25 years in network marketing, right? Another resource is a company that I have found that has a digital tool. It's a company called OOLA, OOLA. Two amazing, amazing men that have been teaching vision and purpose for about 30 years now. And it's a resource and a tool that I use for people who like to use digital tools to keep track of their vision, keep track of their goals, because it has an app. It's kind of gamified. So you can put your 3 top goals in there every day and tick them off, right?
Cool.
Great streak. So yeah, they've written several books. They are 2 of the most amazing humans.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out. I've never heard of it. So if I have heard of it, I didn't use it. So I need to go back and look at it. So
OOLA.
Very good.
So I still have a hand in that. I love the tool, so I recommend it to a lot of people.
Definitely.
Other resource would be, and I'm going to be very
bonus
non-humble here, as I have a workbook, my first book that I created, called Vision is Victory.
Hold on. Let me pause you. I want to help America and all the listeners that speak English to remember that the definition of humility is wrong in modern society. Humility is a full appreciation of oneself and everything else that's out there. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're the type of visionary who stepped up and honored us with what you've worked so hard to create. So let's hear about this workbook and honor that. Like, go ahead, Carey. This is your workbook. I want to hear about it. Yeah.
So it's a workbook that I wrote when I stepped away from network marketing. I never left my company, but I just wanted to teach vision to the public. Mm-hmm. So I created curriculum around it that I've been using with my team. I started doing workshops, which I still do, teaching people how to get their vision out of their head and onto paper, Jackson, so that they bring it to life. Right.
Love it.
So a year after doing that, starting the workshop, starting the coaching, I wrote this very, very simple workbook called Vision is Victory. And it literally walks people through a process of how to get it written like they've never written it before, and how to break it down into goals. It's so simple that, a teenager can do it.
Yep.
I've thought about maybe I should revamp it and make a Vision is Victory 2.0. And I don't do it because people remember it. They tell me after they do it that they remember all the visuals in the book. So, yeah. So I give it I'll give it away as a free ebook to your listeners, and we can give them a link if you'd like.
Please do. Do I get it too? Just kidding.
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely going to dive into that and take a look. It reminds me of Passion Pro, and they go hand in hand, Yep. And so the fun thing about that is, for me, if I find it so interesting as our entrepreneurs find themselves in Passion Pro, because we Miyagi it into what we do. It's amazing how many completely transition and shift from what they are doing to where they want to go now that they have permission. Yet that only tees them up with the need to then clarify the vision too. And so the 2 resources, sometimes the vision comes first, sometimes the passions comes first. Those of you listening in, you do you, right? In your own heart, your own mind, where you're at, what you need, where you might go. You might not feel like you know it, but follow that feeling, follow that sensation, follow that thought process, and allow it to happen. So we'll be right back. We're going to bring Carey back on. We're going to dive into how everyone has a secret vision and talk about what that secret vision might look like. You may already be onto it. You may already know. You may doubt that and be like, what? What are they talking about? If you can hold some space for us and allow us to talk through this, you might find your life changed forever. And we'll see you on the other side. All right. Welcome in to Vision Pros Live with Jackson Calame. I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there. Woohoo! What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros Live. I'm your show host, Jackson Calame, founder and CEO of First Class Business. Today, I got to give a shout out to my team and myself, because we launched our program as a freemium solution this week. We've been building it for like 14 years. It's still a soft launch. You'll be one of the first people who gets to see it, but you can literally go to firstclassbusiness.io and start getting access to Power Launch and all the things that we've been building for many, many years to help you have the infrastructure and have the insight into how to bring your vision to the next level and really move your brand to $20,000 per month in new revenues within 45 to 180 days. Let's go. Let's get it done. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take sacrifice, and it's going to take team. You don't have to use our team, but there's a reason we built it, and that should tell you enough. All right, moving into some of the other resources that we have for you. We got Home Studio Mastery with Junaid Ahmed, who's now not only somebody who came on the show, became a client, and then became my business partner. He also builds these incredible studios, and he's over at VidCon right now representing. These studios that he builds are world-class. I'm talking like Lamborghini style studios where people go, whoa, this guy, in this case, the hair restoration podcast, Dr. Danio, it's easy to see he is the leader in his industry because of the way he set his studio up. And that was us right there setting up 3PG Advisors as well, over in the same part of the country, over there in Atlanta. Now, if you're in need of basic lighting and setup stuff too, Junaid's just got a super awesome heart, and he's always helping people upgrade their studios. Me personally, I like to keep my studio very basic, and I like to travel a lot. I want people all throughout the world to know that it's possible to rock a mic and win. And really, it's all about the value that we share. But he guides on that too. How do you share your value? What questions do you ask? How do you host guests? And he also helps you move to the next level. If you're one of those people who's like, no, I got to have the best of the best. I got to look like Joe Rogan in what I'm doing. And I don't think there's a better person on earth to talk to than Junaid about that. Then there's Dr. Danny Brissell. Dr. Danny Brissell is also a client of ours. He has a program called The Reading Habit. This guy is one of our absolute favorite leaders to work with. Me and Junaid, we're up here, okay? But Danny is just like, he's at a whole nother level. And it's so fun to be able to represent him and work with him. He helps corporations. He helps events. He's a great speaker. He's often known as the educational version of Jim Carey, super funny guy. And his Reading Habit program is designed for those of you who are parents, so you can learn how to inspire your kids to fall in love with the art of reading. Education has the power to change the world. We are seeing that all over the map. There's so many stories about it. You and I both know we benefit from it every day. So if we can inspire the next generation of kids to learn how to continue to love reading while also continuing to appreciate the online resources that they have, it'll expand and help their brains and their hearts in so many ways, and always put them in a position to where they can absorb great content. I, again, highly recommend checking out Danny. The neat thing is the Reading Habit used to be a paid-for program, but in first-class fashion, we've worked with Danny to launch the freemium version of the Reading Habit. So make sure to go check that out and see what it is. And you'll also be able to watch as we continue to develop it and move it from vision to resource that is easy to distribute, easy to share, and easy to get very excited about. And he does well-crafted workshops, excuse me, with Coach Jimmy as well. So there's a lot of impact and power that's there. Do they pay me to do this? They don't. My friends, this is just me sharing resources that I love and believe in. The next one is the Water Project. I don't have any personal involvement with the Water Project, but we do contribute to it every single month. We love the fact that we have the opportunity to make worldwide impact for the people who have such greater needs than we do. The Water Project opened my eyes to the reality that there's millions of people who don't even have access to clean drinking water. And as I started to meditate more and more on that, that means that these kids, they're having to leave school to go get water for their community. And it's also dangerous and very unsafe. A mom, a dad, they might have to leave work. They might have to leave their sick child at home while they go try to search for water. And they may not find the type of water that they need. And it just breaks my heart and tears me up inside to think that, man, what if it were my kids or me having to live in that circumstance? How could I move my life forward? It would be so hard. Look at these kids celebrating water like our kids, my kids celebrate Christmas Day. And this is the most basic resource that humanity needs. So my hope is that you will take the opportunity to share this with at least one friend, maybe over dinner with people. Maybe you decide to post about it. But if you're not in a financial position to just click on one of these communities, see what's going on and see how you contribute and see the outcome of it, then at least share it, because maybe somebody that you share it with becomes the connection that ends up donating and contributing to 3, 4, or 5 of these. You never know how far the good ripple effect will go that you plant the seed of. So join me in that. Let's make sure to help the world out. And without further ado, we're going to get back to helping all of you and talking about these secret visions and how to unlock them in our life. So, Carey Conley, welcome back to Vision Pros Live.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So diving right in for everybody's sake, I would love to know what is your vision?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, you have me here as a founder of Visions Victory Academy. So when I started teaching my workshops, what organically happened, because I was already a female entrepreneur that was networking a lot of the clients that I worked with for a long time and still do to an extent are entrepreneurs. Because most of them, their vision is very vague, which means they're running what I like to say really expensive hobbies, right? They're winging it. And so I used to bring them into coaching to get their vision written so that they can now create a business plan with some target dates on things. So I still do a lot of that, but my passion really has shifted towards wanting to work with young adults. The Visions Victory Academy is geared towards like early 20s to early mid 30s. They're kind of getting out in the world and figuring out their adult life. And a lot of them are not doing very well. They're struggling because they don't have a vision. They're not happy with the career path that they were placed on. They, struggle in the relationships and they're stressed around money, their identity. Most of them, because I have a podcast called Mental Health Breakthroughs for Young Adults, Jackson, a lot of them have told me that they feel like they're already behind. And it breaks my heart. They're 25 years old and they feel like they're already behind. And I think a lot of that is social media.
Yes.
So, yeah. So we're getting ready to launch a community for them. I've been talking about it for years, like you. This has been in the making for a very long time, so that I can build a community that's based on what they need. So over the summer, I'm going to be starting to host with my team 1 or 2 calls a month to bring on some young adults to talk to them about what's going on in their life and what do they need help with. Maybe bring on some experts on these calls on different topics. I'm going to do an event in September in Coronado, California, and I'm inviting young adults to be there called Vision is Victory. So we'll see where it takes it. I really feel like I've got the vision for it. I've got the passion for it, and it's time for me to bring it to life. I just want to see what they want and help create it around what they tell me.
Oh, I love it. And I look forward to seeing the link for the event. If you're doing it link style, then it'd be awesome to have that, because what a powerful vision and a powerful event. It's going to get redundant between the two of us. But that's all good. I mean, that's kind of what we want you guys to be able to hear and see. So I want to go back to one thing that you talked about. One, you talked about your podcast, Mental Health Breakthroughs with Young Adults. And you also talked about already feeling behind to validate that. I grew up in a world where YouTube had just come out, right when I was a young, not adult, young man. And so I remember my friend telling me about YouTube and about a really gruesome video, and I was like, okay, never touch YouTube. And now here it is, right? But we were both in band, and we ended up getting second in state in the state of Texas for our band. And I emotionally and psychologically quit. I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wasn't good enough. I knew right then and there that if I wasn't first as a 7th grader in my own class, there was 8th graders who were better than me. And there's probably every other state, there's 49 other states, probably every single one of them has at least 1 to 2 people better than me. And then that means all the adults that are already experts, I'm never going to make it in this world. What a horrible feeling, right? And burden to have as a kid, thinking that you have to be the best or you have nothing. And now with Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all these things, it's like, if you do something well, but you open up one of those social media apps, you're just bombarded with all sorts of people who do it better than you. If that's the goal, is to be better than, then, what a vicious trap that put me in almost until my 30s. I was stuck in that for so long. So those of you listening in, that scratches the surface of one of these levels, but we're talking to Carey, who's doing this on a regular basis, dedicating her life to it, helping people uncover that reality. And that's not something I've had to learn just once. It's not something that I'm one and done with. it's something I'm continually leaning into. So I'm very excited about what you're putting in place. I'm very excited about the shift that you're making for young adults. And I'll just add one tiny bit of wisdom for all of us on that regarding visions. While I don't like when cartoons throw in tons of adult content or adult humor to kind of connect with the parents and get the parents there,
Mhm.
I do understand the value of making sure that if you don't get the audience who pays for it, right? If you don't get their interest involved, then you end up creating a situation where no, adults probably aren't going to go pay to sit through an hour and a half of Barney singing. We got to do something to kind of get the full audience there to help and support. So it'll be interesting to see how you and I both go about our processes for that. I'm going to switch gears to this secret vision concept. So everyone has a secret vision. I know I projected the line on this, and we both talked about it beforehand. What does that mean to you? And what about the people who think they don't have a vision?
It's such a big question. Yes, I believe everybody has a vision. I believe that as children, until we go through the process of being educated and um, being told, so I'll use myself as an example. So I grew up wanting to be a singer and an actress.
Hmm.
I loved it. I would spend hours in my room singing into anything I could make a microphone, right?
Cool.
And I was very creative, but it became very, very clear as I started getting into middle school and high school that that was really cute that I sang in all the shows. But I was going to go to college and get a degree because nobody in my family ever had, right? So slowly, a lot of that creativity and that vision that I had of myself really changed, especially because I met my high school sweetheart early on. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Um, and we started dating right at the end of high school, went to college together and got married, and off we went right into the corporate world because that's what everybody was told to do at that point. And it wasn't until I mentioned to you earlier that I was changing jobs every 2 years and I was miserable that I figured out, man, I need to sit down and figure out what is right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I am strong willed enough to have taken the advice and write the vision and then carry it out because that wasn't easy either. People thought I was crazy quitting my job, having a business degree, and going into selling lipstick, right? In the network
Yep.
marketing world. So I do believe everybody has a vision, and I do believe that most people unfortunately die with that dream inside them because they don't. Um, they worry so much about what people are going to think of them, right?
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So this is my whole thing. I love when people come to my events and my workshops and do the book and actually pour out their heart onto paper because I know how scary it is, but I know that they have a purpose.
Huge. Huge. I love that. And that is, I think a lot of us, grow up unaware completely of the idea of having a vision. If we didn't grow up in America, or we didn't grow up in an environment where there's a whole lot of opportunity to think through what your choices are, what your options are in life, then I think it becomes really hard to even understand the value of the concept of vision.
Right.
And that's been my experience meeting with people all throughout the world: Panama, Colombia, Puerto Rico, Uruguay, Mexico, etc. And for myself, even though I grew up in a home where I had all the opportunity to incubate visions, I went through Myers-Briggs and DISC and career advancement assessments and all of that in high school. And for my talent set, I was almost always smack dab in the middle of everything.
Mhm.
And so it was like, cool, you're really great at everything. You can be anything you want. I was like, no, I want to know like which direction I'm supposed to go. I don't want to regret being a basketball player. Probably going to be the world's best soccer player. Like that played in my mind, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a discovery process. So those of you listening in, that secret's within you. And the more you dig, right, the more you dig into that, the more likely you are to unlock and find it. But the more you dig into that with a trained professional as well, with somebody who can guide you, somebody who's going to love you, not somebody who's going to kick your dreams down or hold you back or make you feel bad or make you feel stupid because you're going outside of the box. The opposite. And I love that you shared your one of your resources, community. right? It's that place where we belong, where we're safe to do this. It's so critical to get into a community with people who are going to support, love, nurture, cultivate those visions. And I love seeing your website and how well prepared it is, the videos of you getting people dancing and going. Like it's easy to see how well you lead these initiatives. So, we're going to talk a little bit more directly about it. We've alluded to it. We've talked in pieces about it, but to really put clarity around it, what's your vision then for those that you serve? Where do you see that taking them?
Well, it's a movement that I want to create, Jackson. It's, because I feel like if I can work with young adults right now, helping them uncover their own purpose, their vision, following out they're taking some baby steps, right? I just love it when I work with somebody and they're scared to death and I can see that to follow their vision, but they're ready to take at least some baby steps like I did, right?
Mm.
So if I can get to them and help them create a more purposeful, joyful life, I see that trickling down when they start their own families and raising their own kids.
Mm.
That's the trick, because I'm 63 now, right? So it's not a matter of making money anymore. It's a matter of how can I change the trajectory of what we've got going on. And I don't think we've hit on this, but I know you're showing my website here that I've lost both my husband and my son to suicide. So my son was 25. So we started talking about building this movement, he and I together, before he passed. And now, after losing both of them, it's just become, really big mission for me. So that's why I have this vision to serve, is because we've got an epidemic going on right now,
Yes,
right?
we do, Carey, and thank you for being willing to share such a difficult reality with us, and still yet pour love and grace into our lives, and to honor them in that process. The opportunity that we have to lean into supporting and helping others is critical. I've talked once publicly about a book that I've been writing, and how the publishing date still to be determined, but it's called The Third Parent, and the third parent is a reflection of, I think, one of the big root causes of what happens to children in today's society,
Mhm.
and how in the past we used to be able to go to our parents and it didn't really matter if they told us the truth or not. Their word was the word, right? That was the truth we had. And so most parents don't lie with a bad intent, but if one parent cheated or something like that, right, and then the kid goes and asks what happened, like where's dad, where's mom, how does this happen, and they could oh, they had to go work, dad's got a new friend, right. There's lots of ways parents attempt to handle that type of conversation with their child.
Mhm.
Pre-Google, that may have worked. But now that a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old can jump on to online and say, what does mommy mean when she says daddy has a new friend? That child's not getting psychological advice. They're
Mhm.
getting cosmopolitan.
Right.
They're getting trolls on the internet comments of other 6 and 8-year-olds. They're very active in that because they got nothing else to do with their time. And Google has become this third parent entity where there's so many popular votes, right? So many bits of knowledge of everybody agreeing with unhealthy concepts, that if the parent, us real life parents, are not prepared to acknowledge that, and we're not able to talk to our children, and we just keep shutting it down like our parents in the past used to do, where we say, someday you'll understand. Nope, someday you'll get it. Someday they think they do get it. And
Right.
you're outnumbered with all the world voices. And so if we don't learn how to discuss that with our children, what happens is I see nieces and nephews, and I see other children out there completely putting up a wall against their dumb parent and saying, you're just, they don't want to fight with their parents. They just know their parents are ignorant. Their parents
Mhm.
can't see what they have access to seeing, all the voices they see. And people don't even realize that. And we can't wait for the stats. We can't wait for us to find out in 20 years what's going to happen. We have to make logical, healthy movements as a society. Say, okay, Google's a resource like fire, and it can burn people to death or it can create electricity, but we have to use these resources responsibly in order to protect the next generation. So I hope I didn't derail our conversation. as much as paint a vision of something that I don't think many people have talked about a lot. And to me, it relates to the idea of if children feel isolated into a virtual box and they accidentally put up walls against their existing physical community, then they're going to fall into a position of despair and a position of distrust. What are your thoughts on that as a visionary expert and as somebody who understands the value of community?
This really takes my heart because I now have 2 grandsons that are 5 and 2. And I am very aware of how different it is for them than it was when I was raising my kids, right? Because my kids were not raised with a cell phone in their hand. And I know that I'm proud of my daughter and my son-in-law because they are hyper aware of not doing that as well. But I see its prevalence, right? When you can be in a restaurant and you see 2-year-olds with an iPad in front of them because the parents don't want to have to teach them how to communicate and how to, be at a table. It's just very, very sad to me, to be honest. But that's why there's people like you and I and other people that are visionaries that are very aware and having a voice. And I really want to encourage you to get that book out.
I want to encourage you to contribute to it as far as an expert. Somebody also, I'm going to be the crazy dad with no degree. And that's all been planned pretty much for a long time in my life, but ringing the bell, it's just my response. Look, I don't know, but this expert says this, this expert says this.
Yeah.
I've already gotten several experts to contribute. And the launch won't be that hard, but I didn't launch it. And this going back to y'all's visions. This is about vision development. You can follow in our footsteps on these things. When I was ready to launch the book, it was the year that Trump was being elected. And the political chaos that was taking place was so loud. I was like, this is never going to get any attention. This is not the time. I need to wait for a smarter time to launch this book because I am going to launch it powerfully. And then COVID hit. And I was like, great. Now there's a whole thing that nobody's going to stop talking about, along with yet another election. So it's been a process, but I know that God makes no mistakes with his timing. I need to do my part to get the people who are going to get involved to help me push this up the mountain. I think it's very much time. I think we've got to, and we'll launch the 3rd, and it's an easy book. All we need is screenshots, right? All we need is to showcase what it looks like. We're just driving awareness, and we're driving a conversation with a healthy petition to ask people to bring this to the attention of Google, and what's going on there. And we will launch it with the trailer already for the 4th parent, Facebook, and the 5th parent, Snapchat, and the 6th parent, and we'll create the whole series. But we do have to create a dialogue. And there's not, I have my theories of solutions, but unless we have doctors talking about it, nobody's going to care. Nobody that can make the changes is going to adjust. We got to make a movement with it. So thank you for your support on that. And again, those of you who are out there who might want to contribute and think that's a good idea, please do. Contact me. Let me know that you're interested in that concept and seeing it brought forward, because that also empowers visionaries. So speaking of that, you've talked about community. Communities are very hard to build. They take a lot of work to be able to pull together and make happen. The visionaries out there, if we want them to lean into community and get support there, and we know the power of networking, and you've got materials and resources. We've talked about secret vision. Let's talk about secret sauce. Is there any piece of the puzzle that you want to reveal from the middle of the puzzle that obviously it's not going to help with the whole infrastructure, but what's something we overlook as visionaries?
So the process that I walk people through, Jackson, when they go through my workbook, my workshops, my events, is I get them to put a target date on things. So I ask them to, on their piece of paper, to date it as if it's 3 years from that day. And after they write that date, I ask them to write down how old they will be, how old their family members will be, anybody that's important in their life. And the reason I do that is because I can see on people's faces when I get them to think about that, that they are starting to see some things coming that they're not prepared for, especially if you have children.
Yes.
Because about every 3 to 5 years, there's a shift in the family dynamic because they're growing up.
Yep.
And so, and again, using myself as an example, when I started in my network marketing company, I had a 2-year-old. I was still working full time, and I was 5 months pregnant. And my target, my big target that had a date on it, was to be able to quit my job, get my son out of daycare, and stay home before the baby came. And so when I stepped into my company, I told them that, and they said, well, how much do you need to make? And I said, I need to make, let's say, $1,000 a month to do that. So I knew with that target and what that target looked like for me to create that vision, the first step in my vision for our family's life was to follow the steps they told me so I could reverse engineer it, right? So when I get people to think 3 years out and to dream in every area of their life, what do they want it to look like 3 years, that 3-year date? Now we can start moving backwards, and we can go down into, all right, let's write out some really specific, quantitative, SMART goals for 1 year.
Our goals.
Yeah. Right. So that's the secret sauce, is that nobody wants to put dates on things because it's scary.
I love that.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
Especially entrepreneurs, when I talk to them, first and foremost, Jackson, I ask them, what's the revenue target for the year? 99.9% of the time they look at me and go, what are you talking about?
That's right. Okay. So you just gave us spicy secret sauce. That is absolutely spicy. So I'm going to add some mildness to the mix here. I'm going to add some ingredients that help pull the spiciness level down on it without losing its savor. Right. And this comes from Ramit Sethi of IWillTeachYouToBeRich.com. Ramit Sethi, Stanford grad, super smart, awesome programs, but his main program that really hit me was his ultimate guide to setting habits. And in that ultimate guide to setting habits, he had this process on goals. And he shared a theory that I had never heard on goals. I was pretty young when I read it. I think I was like 25 or so. And it unlocked everything for me about goals. It unlocked why I had struggled with goals. It unlocked why I was like, why does everybody hate that I set big goals rather than I set timelines? And what Ramit Sethi taught is we have a very unhealthy relationship with goals. The goal. Why do we set a goal? We don't set a goal so that we can achieve the goal. We set a goal that stretches us, that expands us. And so instead of looking at goals from the position of, I have to do this or I'm a failure, right? I have to get this done or I'm a loser. Instead of looking at it that way, we need to realize that the goal is designed to stretch us, and we need to evaluate, how did we do? That's the opportunity, is how did we do? What did we learn? Where will we go from here? Are we going to abandon this goal because we found something better? Or going to move towards it? So I love what you're talking about, to set the target date. And if you feel the date is scaring the bejesus out of you, right, and it's like going to crush you and cripple you, then that's probably a really healthy time to say, I added a little bit too much spice to this. Maybe I can extend it by a week or a year. Maybe there's something else I need to evaluate. And that's, again, where other people's minds and hearts, community, can really help. That way you're not trying to dissolve all of this by yourself. And if that scares you, the latest savory, mild component that I recommend adding, ChatGPT. Go to ChatGPT and ask it and say, hey, I'm kind of scared about this goal. Here's what I've done. What am I overlooking? Right. Or what can I do in relation to this to protect my own feelings, my own ambitions, my own motivation as I move towards this? ChatGPT does miracles when it comes to helping us if we're able and willing to ask the right questions. It can also be a very powerful and dangerous tool if you don't ask the right questions. So make sure you're paying attention to that out there if that's your direction. We're coming up to the end of the show. I'm going to ask my favorite question. I'd love for you to come back, Carey, because we got depth. We got real great depth here. So my favorite question. If this was the last chance you had to speak on any podcast anywhere, today's the day, that it's all over. You've left your legacy. What powerful lesson can other visionaries learn from your experience?
I think it's that the biggest reason I talk to people about vision is it becomes, and this is interesting, we're talking about books. When I get in front of people and I talk about why vision, having a written vision is so powerful in your life, there's like 20 bullets I can pull from, Jackson, of all the reasons I believe in a written, powerful vision. And one of the reasons I talk about is it becomes your anchor in all the storms. And the reason I can say that is because when people ask me, how in the world did you get through what you've been through and you're still doing what you're doing? And one of the reasons I tell them is my faith and it's my vision. My vision has been my anchor. It's my purpose. It's what gets me out of bed every morning. And so I think that's the overall message I want people to know, is that if you are struggling and you're not happy and you're not finding joy, your joy is anchored in knowing that you have a purpose, right? And to follow your vision and your dreams. So I just really want to encourage people, especially if they're really struggling right now, to find their anchor.
I love that.
Thank you.
Carey Conley, founder of Vision is Victory Academy. And here she is helping open our doors, open our abilities. I love this quote: vision becomes your anchor in all the storms. If you're not feeling anchored, maybe it's time to upgrade the vision, right? Just like if you don't have a strong enough anchor for a ship, maybe you're one of those people who is destined to have multiple visions. That could be LeBron James. Wrong side, that guy, right there, or Richard Branson, with hundreds of companies, Jackson Calame with like a dozen, and Carey, she's had several visions too. You got family vision, you got personal well-being vision, you got spiritual visions, temporal wellness visions. There's lots of different types of visions too that can be intertwined or that can be forgotten. But I love this concept that the vision becomes your anchor in all the storms, because I know what it's like to go through heavy storms in life. And I'm sure many of you do too. So Carey, again, thank you for being here today. Those of you listening in, you'll be able to find Carey Conley, of course, online. We'll have in the show notes as well. We'll have the resource links down below this episode on the landing page. We'll also link to the other resources that we talked about. In the top right corner of the screen, you're going to see a button that says "Be Our Guest." If you're ready to come talk about your vision, the whole point of the show is to provide that safe environment. You don't have to be at the, years, decades of experience level where you've got amazing footage and, experience being on events. We want people to come and talk about their visions authentically. And I hope that this becomes at least the stage for some of you where you get to say, this is the first time I'm sharing my vision. Like, that's like the coolest thing ever. So come and share that. And if you've got a super awesome vision, or like you've already developed it too, like, of course we want you to be here. Carey, I'm also going to invite you to be on our next show, our show that I don't ask very many people to go to. And it's called the BeYourBestShow.com. That's a show where I ask tougher level questions. We go into the good, we go into the bad, we go into the ugly. It's a limited stage because not many leaders out there want to dive into that level of authenticity and want to discuss the variables that are uncomfortable for them. But we can't really guide people very well if we're not having those serious and, legitimate conversations about how did we actually get through this? What were the challenges that we faced throughout the process? So if you'd love to join me on that, we'll discuss that behind the scenes offline. But I want my guests to know how much I value you as an individual coming on the show, and how well you're diving into what you're doing. You've proven concepts that really help me feel that much more secure and certain about my own vision. So it's like your anchors stabilize my ship now. And I thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a work in progress, and we have several authors contributing to this new book coming out called Unshakable: Stories to Anchor You Through Life Storms. So we're really excited about it.
Woo, I would be too. That's a great book title too.
Thank you.
Unshakable. You guys are some of the first to hear about it. And we look forward to that coming out, and let us know once it does so we can add that resource back to the landing page as well.
Absolutely.
And Vision Pros, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision.